Sammamish Disability Commission March meeting to order. I'll start off by our traditional land acknowledgement statement. We acknowledge that we are on the indigenous land of Coast Salish peoples who have reserved treaty rights to this land, specifically the Snoqualmie Indian tribe. We thank these caretakers of this land who have lived and continue to live here since time immemorial. Okay, let's go over the agenda for tonight. Before we vote on the agenda, I actually have an addition. I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda, and that's to include the nominations for chair and vice chair for 2026. So I need to get somebody to make a motion to advance the agenda item, right? Can we get somebody to do that, please?
So moved.
What's that?
So moved.
Okay, can we get a second?
Second.
Okay, so all in favor of adding the nomination election process for vice chair and chair for this year, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Quick point of where within the agenda will it be?
We're going to do it after the PSE presentation, so it'll probably be about an hour from now or so. Yeah.
Cool. Yep. Aye.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. And then we need to do one more quick vote. Can I get someone to put forth the motion to approve last month's meeting minutes?
I moved that we approved last month's meeting minutes.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of approving last month's meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Okay, the meeting minutes pass. Now we're gonna go to public comment. I understand we have one person queued up for tonight.
Somebody just hopped on.
Oh, we can promote Brian to a panelist as
We
well. Yeah, he told me he might be joining on.
Okay, so then we have nobody online for public comment.
Okay,
Okay. Mary Richter did pre-register, so she may send a public comment written after the fact.
okay, sounds good. All right, I am going to turn it over to Rose to introduce our guest speakers tonight.
Great. All right, thanks everyone. Joining us this evening, we have two individuals from Puget Sound Energy, which is the city's utility provider. I'll let each of them introduce themselves and just provide a little bit of background on what they do. Oh, hi Tim, that was much earlier than expected. Provide a little bit of background on what they do, and then they're gonna walk us through the Puget Sound Energy Green Power Program, the Sammamish Challenge related to it, and some other programs that Puget Sound Energy offers related to renewable energy and sustainability. So Leslie, why don't you take it away?
Hi, everyone. I am Leslie Myers. I oversee several of our voluntary renewable energy programs at PSE, everything from renewable natural gas to community solar. I also oversee the non-net metering solar products that they have.
I am Matt Larson, the Local Government Affairs and Public Policy Manager for PSC for East King County. My liaison and relationship role is primarily with the City Council, with Scott, the City Manager, and also with Julie Hahn at the Chamber of Commerce, and working with us and some other staff occasionally. So with the Stinks All City, I'm here primarily as you are. Leslie's one of our subject matter experts, and I'm always wanting to learn more and more. I'm a generalist. She's a specialist. So I'm
You're pretty special though, too.
Thank you.
So sensing a theme tonight.
I'm going to learn more.
They're special over here on this side of the table, too. It's not just you all.
Well, welcome. Thank you.
Great. Maybe we could just do a quick round of commission introductions. I know we've got name tags here, but
Do you mind turning your name tags around?
I don't know what I need.
maybe just a quick introduction of who you are and just a sentence or two about
You want me to
what
start?
brought you here. Sure, we'll start with you, Steve.
Well, as you can see, I'm Steve Christensen. I've been a resident in the city for 39 years and a customer of yours for longer. I was a customer of Seattle City Lane for a long time. And I'm a retired Boeing engineer who's got a abiding interest in climate change and reducing our collective carbon footprint. And I think one of the biggest things we need to attack is buildings, primarily space heating. So I'm a major advocate of heat pumps.
You must know Tom Vance, or a former council member, or took only for many years too. No.
I know the name and I've met him, but there's a lot of people at Boeing.
You're the one with the EV question too, about the Aboriginal and the EVs.
Oh, yeah, I have a plug-in hybrid, so the Excel spreadsheet. Well, I mean, that was overpowering. You know, I can charge my car in 5 hours on a 240 20 amp circuit at home.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
It's only a 19 kilovolt battery.
yeah.
Hello, my name is Stephanie. Welcome, guys. I'm very excited to hear your presentation. I am a new member of the Sustainability Commission this year, and I'm very excited. I'm a first-year student at the University of Washington studying environmental science. Go dogs! And very passionate about reducing emissions, especially on the natural resources side and protecting our physical environment.
Hi, Tim Hauser. Sorry for being a few minutes late. I am a founding member, whatever you want, of this commission, along with Steve. Been here from the beginning. And for my day job, I work at Amazon in the Worldwide Sustainability team. I build technology that allows us to project where emissions are going to be between here and 2040 so that we can try to reduce them and hit our climate pledge goal.
Hi, I'm Nick Garson. So I'm the current chair of the commission. Like Steve, I'm a geologist. I spent 27 years with the Boeing Company managing environmental remediation projects. And most recently, I worked with the Department of Ecology working on like alternative energy applications. And we were able to, because our power in Washington is hydroelectric, you know, we're able to make cases that it's green energy and kind of aligned with our objectives for sustainability on those sorts of projects. And then we also looked at purchasing like green energy credits on some Superfund sites as well that comply with some EPA orders. So have a little bit of interest and experience in your field, not coming from like the EV area, but more using alternative energy to run remote projects on remediation sites.
All right, cool. Wasn't sure if you were doing.
No, we don't need order.
I'm Swan. I'm a recent graduate from DigiPen. I do game design for day-to-day stuff. But I also went to Tesla STEM High School and took all of the environmental science classes there.
I'm sorry, which high school?
Tesla STEM High School.
Tesla,
yeah.
wow.
I just did a presentation there.
Fantastic. Yeah, I remember we ended up getting a decent number of presentations from people while I was there, which was a few years ago at this point. But learned a lot about environmental science there, did a bunch of stuff with the Schools Under 2C Green Team, and have picked it back up recently.
And I am Christy Santa Domingo, and I'm a science teacher in Issaquah School District, and I'm also our Green Team lead. And I've been on the Sustainability Commission for about a year, and in the Sammamish area for about 20 years. And I apologize, I'm at the tail end of like a cold, so that's why I might have a cough drop. But I'm really excited about this because we have 2 kids who are heading off to college. So like solar panels, it sounds very expensive to us right now. But something like this where we can put money towards green energy, but yet not have to invest in, you know, super expensive solar panels. So I'm very excited to hear.
Yeah, most of our programs are designed for people like you that are looking for a way to reduce their personal carbon footprint on their own time frame and in their own budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Okay. We're here to talk about Power Up Sammamish, which is the name of the challenge. Let's go ahead and look at the next slide. Okay. So the goal of the Green Power Challenge with the City of Sammamish is to add 100 new enrollments to the Green Power program. We have, for context, we have about 97,000 customers that participate in Green Power across our service area. At the end of the campaign, once the city achieves its goal, which we are sure it will, by the way, you're at 24% at the end of February. You will be at just over 3,000 participants in the program within the city of Sammamish. It started at the beginning of January. It'll go all the way through December 31st. If you achieve the goal early, there's opportunity to add additional shares and increase the award amount. Right now, for 100 new enrollments, we are offering a $10,000 for for solar at a to be determined location with the city. Does anybody have a question about that?
What counts as enrollment? Cause there's levels at which you can do this, right? Like offset 100% of your electricity or like $5 a month or whatever. So
That's
any of
right.
Those count.
That's right. For commute or for green power, the entry point is $4. That counts as an enrollment. You
Sure.
can go 100%. That counts as an enrollment.
Sure.
We want it to be something within reach. We also have community solar, which I'll talk about, which we're counting toward this. And community solar has, it's a more expensive program, but we have a no cost program for low income customers. And that's by including it in the challenge. It's our way of making sure that pretty much anybody in any city that's participating in a challenge has the opportunity to participate, whether it's at $0 because they meet income qualifications, or $4 because that's what they're comfortable with, or going up all the way up to $10 or $12 on a variable rate that matches your actual consumption.
Could you just quickly explain the difference between this and community solar? So we started, I thought.
We are going to explain that.
What's that?
We are going to explain
The
that.
difference between this program and community solar?
The challenge is for enrollments on both programs.
Okay, programs. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, how we'll get there. This was one of the questions that came through. Normally I wouldn't have included this slide, but PSC has created some co-branded marketing materials. We've given some sample and draft copy for city channels to use. We have a dedicated landing page. We are already doing quite a bit of direct email campaigns and we're planning a direct mail campaign later probably in the summertime. We are going to attend and talk about this challenge at booths in your community. I think we're at the Earth Day event, or that I heard about that earlier today as an official event for Earth Month. And then we're providing a monthly report. I haven't emailed the report because I wanted to tell you today that it was 24% so far. Okay. Yep. So that's how PSC is going to support this. The other thing I'll say is that the goal of 100 is a very modest and obtainable goal. We don't think that there's going to be any problem.
So just a quick question. In the Sammamish area, there's a lot of communities that are part of HOAs.
Mhm.
And in your experience, have HOAs been kind of a hindrance to application of solar? I don't know. I can't speak for bylaws for many HOAs, but have you found that
Yeah.
that's something that needs to be looked at? Or
Neither one of the programs that count towards the challenge are trying to get people to construct solar.
okay.
This is all for like centrally located or regionally located, like what we were talking about.
Okay.
And by the way, Nick, there's a state law that prohibits HOAs from doing that.
Yeah. Okay. So, question for you all: what makes renewable energy?
Well, I brought up the hydroelectric example.
Do you see that it's not on the list?
Yeah.
That's because it's not renewable. Hydroelectric is clean energy. It's not green energy. Renewable energy is energy that's made from a naturally replenishing resource that does not have significant damage to the environment in the making of it.
What if you stored some of the electricity with a battery and pumped the water back up and use it again?
That would be called low impact hydro, and yes, that would qualify in the state of Washington.
As renewable?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, so low impact hydro, yes. Big dams, no. So by participating and supporting the energy that is offered through these programs, you're not going to be supporting large hydro. But you will be supporting, well, we're mostly talking about wind and solar for the programs, but we do have geothermal is another common renewable energy resource that people think about when they think about renewable energy. And then you can also get gas from dairy farms and landfills. And I'll talk a little bit about that later on, but that's also considered a renewable resource. People keep making garbage.
Can I ask a quick question
Yeah.
to Rose?
Oh.
I don't have these slides. I thought I printed them. Were they given to us?
Yes.
Okay, they were. Then that must not be what I printed. I don't know what I got. Okay,
Yeah, there was
so
an
we have these.
yeah, there was an initial version of the agenda that was then amended to add the Puget
Okay,
Sound Energy
okay,
slides.
got it. Okay, good. So
I was like getting to Rose.
Okay, okay. Okay, good to know.
Any other questions or thoughts? I mean, were people surprised to hear? I know you're surprised about the hydro, but were people surprised to hear that about hydro?
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I like to bring up because it's one of the key differentiators between participating in a renewable energy program, the green energy versus the clean energy. And we talk later on about the Clean Energy Transformation Act. That's one of the differences. we do have a lot of hydro in our region, and about 35% of PSC's mix is hydroelectric.
Mhm.
Yeah, we were late to the game buying dams in the state.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, Seattle City Lights.
Seattle's hooked up most.
It's got, and I guess Snohomish and also,
MBTA.
yeah.
And BPA. Yep. Yep. We do have that wonderful dam up in Skagit, the Baker Dam with the fish taxi, which is really cool. If you haven't been up there, you can take a tour. I think we do tours still. I've taken a tour where we help the fish get up and past the dam so that they can get to their spawning area and come back. It's really cool. Okay. Next slide. Okay, so this is a key point I wanted to bring up, and this is kind of like what you were talking about. Renewable energy does not have to be generated at your home or business to reduce your personal carbon footprint. You can support renewable energy that is generated centrally located or regionally located, if that's what you want. When you're buying renewable energy through programs like the ones that I'll give you the details for, you are purchasing the right to make the environmental claim for your personal carbon footprint.
What does that mean?
Well, everybody has a carbon footprint. Driving here, charging your car, everything that you're doing, the electricity that you're using, everybody is accumulating basically a debit of carbon. And you can use different mechanisms like carbon offsets or renewable energy certificates, which I will define in just a sec, as they're basically accounting measures.
Mhm.
And you can reduce your carbon footprint by purchasing and making, then you can make those claims.
Yes, I guess I'm curious, maybe not really relevant, but how would I make a claim?
Some businesses want to make a claim. A city might want to make a claim. A residential customer usually just wants to feel good about what they're doing.
You're a metric in the city.
I am a metric in the city, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I confused by that last bit of making claims to someone.
Yeah.
Backing them up.
Most residential customers aren't, what they want is the sticker and to feel good.
Yeah.
And by being in the program, we're gonna try and help you do both of those things. You can get a sticker, and hopefully you'll feel good about the decision. And we do provide like annual reports and things like that so that you can see like how big is the program and how much carbon has been saved by the participants. And for commercial customers, we'll do a custom annual report just for them. So because a lot of times they have sustainability plan or goals that they have maybe like at Amazon, you've got stuff you've published, you want to be able to prove it.
Yep, that I get.
Okay.
100%.
Yep. Okay. So green power. That is the #1 program. This program has been around for 25 years. It is at this point in time, it is wind and solar. In the past, it used to have a little bit of that low impact hydro. It used to have a little bit more biogas from dairy farms, but we're really just supporting wind and solar now because wind and solar throughout the Western US is prolific and we can get plenty of it now. This is all from independent power producers. So what we're doing here, when an energy generator creates renewable energy, they're really creating two things. They're creating the kilowatt hour, which is the electron that goes out onto the grid that looks like every other electron, no matter what it was made from, whether it's made from hydro or it's made from coal or it's made from a wind turbine. The electron operates exactly the same. And because of that, the utilities are purchasing the electron. They're purchasing the kilowatt hours. They can also have the option of purchasing what's called a renewable energy certificate. And that is basically like a receipt that matches every megawatt hour of the electrons with a proof that this energy was generated from a specific power source and fed out on the grid. It's not the promise of energy being generated. It's not the potential of energy being generated. It's actual energy generated and fed out onto the grid and tracked through a tracking system.
So if you buy a bunch of megawatt hours from some outfit in, say, Nevada that goes to Utah, you paid for that. Does PSC get credit for it?
No. This is all above PSC's compliance requirements. So all of the 92 or 97,000 customers that are in the Green Power Program are able to make the claim for themselves their personal carbon footprint. You are not paying for PSC to clean up its grid.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, when that energy is generated, it's gonna go somewhere.
Mhm.
And maybe some of it would come to my house or to Tim's house, but most likely not. But I'm claiming that it's coming to my house.
You're not necessarily claiming that it's coming to your house. You have purchased the right for the environmental claim for
Yeah.
yourself. So we are on an interconnected power grid, and yes, the electrons will go to the place that's the closest, but that person, whoever is actually using that electron, doesn't get to make the claim because the owner of the renewable energy certificate is the one that gets to make the carbon reduction claim. It's an accounting. It's really like it's abstract, but if you think about it as a ledger where you've made a debit and then you've made a deposit to reduce that debit, then you are.
No, what I'm trying to do is figure out whether or not the power that was generated by that renewable source, solar farm, does it come into the PSC system?
It is attached to the PSC system, but we can't assure that it's coming.
Okay.
It's on what's called the Western Energy Council, the WEC. And so our interconnected grid.
Everybody but California.
Well, I don't buy from California, so I took them off the map.
Yeah.
You're basically just buying carbon credits, and some of that might go to somebody else's house. And it's gonna be their clean energy, but you bought the credit for it, so you own it. So it's really just carbon credits in the first instance.
They're called renewable energy certificates, and they're also known as carbon credits. Yes, but so are carbon offsets are also known as carbon credits. So same concept, but yes. Did you have something? I thought I heard you about to say.
No, I might have coughed.
Okay.
Leslie, would it be correct to say this is basically preventing double dipping?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The owner gets to make the claim, so nobody else can, and it's really about what the people that want to own it and want to be sustainable and feel like they're doing the right thing this is an inexpensive way to do that. The other thing that I'll say is with a program that's 25 years old, like Green Power, it is a powerful way of moving the renewable energy industry in the United States and globally, really. The renewable energy certificate market, the voluntary market that these programs are part of, are the backbone of what got us to where we are today with all the wind turbines and all the affordable solar now. It's because there was an incentive to develop these types of projects. And the incentive was for the generators to be able to sell, they can sell the kilowatt hour or the megawatt hour, and they can sell the renewable energy certificate. And the location and the technology behind the renewable energy certificate is a variable price. And if some of it is more expensive because you might say like, I really want to get it from Washington, or I really want to get it from Idaho, or I can buy some inexpensive stuff to balance it out going from Colorado or Montana because we're on the shared grid.
Mhm.
So I'm buying a portfolio of renewable energy certificates across our shared grid. Yes.
So when I was at Boeing and I was trying to get sustainable solutions implemented, I had to demonstrate that sustainability was not a premium, that it provided value, could be just considered part of a project expense. So I'm looking at the charges here. So are people investing in the expansion of the grid? Is that the business case for this? Are we investing in a more alternative energy future for the United States? Where
Yes.
is the money going?
The money is going to independent power producers. So a lot of times when you to develop a wind farm or a solar farm or something like that, you need you need
Yep.
money to put it up front.
Yep.
And a lot of times that starts with a loan. And you can say, okay, well, when the power is being generated, I know I'm going to make this much money to pay back that capital expense. And then they can say, and I can also sell the racks.
Okay.
And then, so it's like, and frequently, like with my program, we will enter into and have entered into long-term purchase agreements with specific power generators so that they can then go and say, I have a customer for these.
See, I think that messaging is important for our community. It's not only Tim's reducing his footprint, which he hasn't measured, but you're also investing in the alternative energy infrastructure for the Northwest.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you give us an example of an independent power producer? Would
Yeah.
would you be considered one, PSE? If you
No,
got a wind farm and a solar,
we're not buying from PSC. No. PSC needs all that energy themselves.
Okay,
Yeah. I'll give you an example. There is,
You mean we green power, not for PSC, not we.
Correct. Yeah, correct. The Green Power Program is buying from independent producers,
okay,
not from Puget Sound Energy. This is not an exchange for customer dollars to come into another to pay for something that
okay.
the company is already doing. That's why I'm always buying out in the open market. The other thing too is I'll say that I go through an audit every year that tracks 750,000 of these down to this receipt and make sure that I said, I'm going to buy this. It's going to be 45% solar. It's going to be 50%. It's going to come from these states. And in the end, we whittle it down from, it came from these states. I met what's called the product content label. I said it was going to be 45 and 55. It turns out it's 47 and whatever the other one is. But so there are all of these steps that we take in order to attempt to create transparency and trust, so that you know that the money isn't just going in to PSE and then I'm just like buying from Wild Horse Wind Farm or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So an example of an independent power producer, I'll give you a couple that are here in Washington. One is Squawk Wind Farm, which is in Ellensburg, and that is a privately owned, I think it's about 4 or 5 turbines on a family's property where they want to protect the property. It's like their summer ranch or something like that. They wanted to be able to protect their property. And so they wanted to bring an income stream into the property so that they could keep it in the family. Another example I'll say is like the Lummi Nation. They have a couple of different buildings where they wanted to install solar. And so we basically gave them the money to install the solar, and they get to use the energy, but we bought the RECs.
Okay.
Okay.
Why is it a premium?
Because it's more expensive. Because I'm buying on, so I'm not replacing. So this is like you're matching, you're not replacing. So you're using PSC's regular service, the 35% hydro, natural gas, solar, wind, unspecified. You're using that, and then you're matching it with renewable energy certificates that are generated on the grid. So you're buying on top of.
Got it.
Yeah. So $4 minimum. I really wanted to highlight this does not count towards PSC's compliance measures, because that's something that's been important that customers in the program have not wanted to pay for what PSC is already required to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's above compliance, and this is one of those nothing to install, nothing to maintain.
What happens? So I believe PSC is trying to get to that clean power.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when
We will get to that in a minute. I am prepared with that answer. Maybe we'll see if you like it.
I don't like the premium one. I pay it, but
Well, thank you very much. Okay, so just for context, last year the Green Power Program by itself, I've got a couple of programs that are like this. Those customers purchased 636,000 megawatt hours. It's a lot of renewable energy. And because I'm buying from I'm taking a portfolio approach, and I'm buying renewable energy certificates from across the West, some are more expensive and some are less expensive. And so I'm able to maintain like some price consistency. We haven't raised the price for the Green Power Program. I have no intention of raising it anytime. But we also sometimes will have a little bit of money left over, and that's what funds our solar grants program. And so last year we gave out $925,000 worth of solar grants for nonprofit organizations, affordable housing providers, and tribal entities to install solar on their buildings.
Snoqualmie Valley Food Bank.
Snoqualmie Valley Food Bank is one. Yes. Yes.
Is there anything else the excess goes to beyond the solar grants, or is that pretty much it?
That's it. We do not make a profit. So the goal is to, I mean, I get paid.
Yeah.
But like,
I hope so.
So the goal is to kind of like make sure we're spending all of the customer dollars in the way that we say that we're going to.
Cool.
And that's another reason why we go through the audit every year.
Mm-hmm.
do you guys get the RECs from those grants?
No,
Because they're not connected to the grid, or just because
that's for the organization. If that's for them to make their own. Yeah, Snoqualmie Valley Food Bank is going to have their own solar array, and they can say that they're powered by solar power because they're keeping all the RECs themselves. If they wanted to sell them to me, I would consider it. Kind of a pain. All those little tiny contracts, but I've done it.
But, sorry, one quick question, but what they generate on their arrays, is that fed back into the grid or do they use it locally?
They're using it locally.
Yeah,
That's-
I was gonna piggyback to that real quick. Is that why you're giving those solar grants? I mean, the solar, yeah, the solar panels to us if we do 100? Are we gonna be selling that back to you or?
No, you're gonna
That's-
use it to reduce the city's carbon footprint or the
Okay.
city's electric bill.
Okay, I didn't know if it adds into this
No.
program. Okay,
No,
okay.
no, not at all. That's
Okay,
that energy is used on site.
okay. Is that what he was saying?
No,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt, but
Leslie, to that question, during the summer, the food bank will be probably producing far more power than they need.
Yeah.
Because of the nature of this program, do they still have a net metering credit?
It's net metering.
Okay.
They're not involved with the program at all. We just funded the
Okay.
solar.
Okay.
Their energy,
Oh, gotcha.
their recs have nothing to do with the program or the customers in the program, except that they were enabled by the customers.
Yeah,
in the
if it's
program.
installed, it behaves like a customer owned.
That's right.
Metering program.
That's right.
Okay.
Not ours.
So a question about the RECs.
Uh-huh.
Is your strategy forward looking or backward looking? Because it seems like the energy demand in the United States is starting to go up exponentially. And so do you see your program expanding in alignment with the country's power needs?
The program, and this is when we're going to get to what's going on with Washington and the clean energy transformation. The program is going to become less and less relevant over time, but there will always be businesses and customers that want to be able to have that. And so the program has grown over the 25 years. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but
And it seems like whatever money is purchased through credits is probably a small percentage of what the providers actually need to build out or expand their grid. Is that a correct statement?
it's not up to me to decide how much they need. I just make the offer.
Are they asking for more?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not necessarily. It is like anything else that's traded. Sometimes I go directly to a provider, like an energy generator. Most of it comes through brokers
Mhm.
that I have long-term relationships with. Yeah,
And your focus is residential power or just
Um,
power in general?
power in general.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Swan, I'm sorry, Swan, did you have your hand up?
it was covered.
Okay.
Yeah, this program is both for residential and commercial customers. The Power Up Sammamish applies to residential and commercial customers, but given the makeup of Sammamish as a city, we're targeting residential, but
Yeah,
yeah, I'm sure your commercial customers are receiving the same emails and outreach as well.
they are.
Yeah.
And they can get a custom annual report so that they can know exactly what they purchased. Yep.
And the city signed up for this, right?
Yes, the city has enrolled, this is 2025 was the first year that we enrolled all city facilities. We were enrolled at the product minimum prior. We are now fully enrolled. All of our city facilities, all of our kilowatt hours are being matched by green power.
So we should have a custom report.
If you want one, although you made the purchase in 25. Did I give you one?
You gave me some numbers, some overview, but I don't know if it was like a formal. I have it in the presentation I'll be giving to you all after. I have how many
Yeah.
kilowatt hours were purchased and what that carbon offset
Yeah.
looks like.
Yeah,
So
I can
those are-
give you a report that goes along with that. The thing is that because it happened in January, it'll technically won't be retired until.
Sure.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, but we did get the overall numbers from PSC.
Stephanie?
Oh, yes. So I know out of the 100 new enrollments, that includes all types of customers, so homeowners and businesses. But as the commission, we are choosing to just target homeowners, or will we also be doing work with businesses? And like, if we are trying to make businesses enroll in this, how do we approach that?
Yeah, hopefully you're not trying to make anybody do anything, but it's really up to you guys how you want to do it. I mean, PSC is doing a lot of marketing and I don't know what you've got planned on your side as far as like outreach. But if you want to workshop something like that or talk something like that, I would be happy to have another discussion too.
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay, next slide. Community solar. Okay, so the difference between green power and community solar is that you are purchasing renewable energy from a specific resource. So whenever, you probably know, every time you get more specific on something, it becomes more expensive. And so PSC has 8 community solar projects built within our service area. We launched the program in 2021. We have, it is the largest program, community solar program in Washington. And with this, what happens is that you are purchasing the energy that's generated by a share at an array of your choice as space is allowed. So we have 18 megawatts of installed capacity. We divide that into slices of 146 kilowatt shares. Those are $20 a share, and then you get a credit on your bill for the energy that's generated by your share the previous month. For our income eligible customers, they can enroll, subscribe to up to 2 shares at no cost, and then just get the credit. So again, this is like the difference between like the specificity. So in this case, you're getting the energy is credited on your bill and the rec is yours too. With green power, the energy is not credited on your bill, but you get the renewable energy certificate. They both, no matter what the price point, and including if you installed solar on your own home, you're all getting the same carbon savings. It's just a matter of like, what are your personal preferences and what can you afford or not afford? And so every megawatt hour of renewable energy has the same carbon savings as no matter what program you're in. No? Okay.
Oh, no, sorry, I was just, 26,000 megawatt hours is roughly 3,000 homes, 4,000 homes.
Sure.
I'm just curious, like, what, like, that's how much energy, just from a scope perspective.
Yeah.
Community solar is how big?
Much smaller. It's much smaller.
Okay.
I mean, if you think about it, 26,000 megawatt hours. Are you doing?
Because we're talking kilowatts.
Okay, Matt's getting that number.
So just if you look, green power, 636.
Yeah.
Megawatts, yeah.
Megawatt hours.
They're hugely different, but that's because we're talking about a very limited capacity. We're at 18 megawatts. We're growing the program. We've got another couple of megawatts in the queue to come online this year. I mean, I know that like a customer uses 861,000 or 861 kilowatt hours a month on average, I think is the number.
About 850 kilowatt hours a month.
Okay.
So I did that times 12, and then that's about 2,580.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, these are centrally located solar arrays. We've got one on Pine Lake Middle School. We have one on the Bonnie Lake Water Tower. We have a couple over in Ellensburg. We have we've got a couple of our service centers have solar on them that are all, so the energy is not being used on site by the PSC buildings that are the host. Instead, they are putting it out all into the grid for subscribers.
See that? Pine Lake Middle School?
Yeah,
How does Pine Lake Middle School get it?
they asked us.
They called you up and said.
We did an RFP or
What's that?
a request for proposal.
Oh.
And it was open, and a lot of people submitted proposals of potential project locations, and they were. We whittled it down. We have a web page on our website called Host an Energy Project, where anyone can submit. We are looking for a minimum of 20,000 square feet and a 15-year lease. But we're open to the ideas and suggestions. Tim.
This one, the return has to vary wildly, I would assume, right?
Mm-hmm.
Between Pine Lake Middle School and Ellensburg. I mean,
That's
assume
right.
the Ellensburg one produces a whole lot more energy.
Yes, it does.
Than Pine Lake.
Yes, it does.
Does it cost the same?
Yes. Some people want it to be on their kids' school. You know, some people, Pine Lake Middle School sold out in like 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
People are willing to pay more for what they want. And it's up to them. And we actually have the only ones we've had trouble fully subscribing are those high producers out in Ellensburg because it feels too far away.
It takes the abstraction out of it. So we're questioning about cross state.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what's cool about it is if it's at the middle school, then the kids probably can see the reports.
Yeah.
Right? Like the teachers are probably doing great lessons with that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
Even, sorry, last question, even with the ones located here centrally, your ROI is probably 7 years or like something where it's probably like a couple of years in Eastern Washington, you're still getting within a 15-year return on your investment for those.
This is not an investment. You are purchasing renewable energy from a specific resource. You are not purchasing a piece of a solar panel where you're going to be getting your money back. This is an ongoing subscription.
Okay.
It's not a break even.
Infrastructure.
The PSC is for Pine Lake Middle School. PSC is leasing that roof space and we
Okay.
own the
I
array.
got it. So you lease the roof space. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is an income stream for organizations that have underutilized roof space.
Will they get money for having it there?
Yeah.
Does he say it's
Money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see your wheels turning.
Yeah.
So why'd we
The
vote?
bigger the roof, the more money they get.
The bigger the roof. Yeah.
That's cool. So other schools could do this as well, or
Yes.
Maybe.
To apply.
Yeah, you have to apply. I mean, here's the thing, is like, I'll just be frank with you. Like, I have processed over 100 applications through that hosted energy project, and we have found 2 that are suitable.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you need the space. You need to understand that you're not using that energy yourself. A lot of people apply and they think that, oh, well, the school's gonna get energy, but you're not.
You're still paying your bill. Yeah.
You're still paying your bill. A lot of times, like, there's so much, you're interested in green buildings, I think you said, or buildings.
Mhm.
The building stock situation is, you need to be solar ready. And so for buildings of that size, a re-roofing is something that's like a capital investment that is planned years out. And so by the time you might be interested, you might still be years away from when you're going to re-roof your building so that we can lease it from you. Because we can't re-roof it for you. In other cases too, like the buildings, they need to be able to, solar is heavy and they need to be able to withstand the weight for sustained weight. It's not like, oh, there's snowpack and then it'll melt away and then everything's gonna be okay, hopefully. This is like sustained 15 years of heavy solar. So it's like, you need to be able to hold the solar, you need to be able, so we're constantly taking in applications and considering applications, but it is hard to find the right fit.
So you make a determination based on the amount of sunlight that particular spot's gonna get to?
That is part of the story. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Because we don't want to end up with, something where you're underperforming and still paying the same as somebody that's
Yeah.
getting a share in Ellensburg.
Yeah, I looked through solar on my roof, but I'm in the trees.
Yeah. We live in a rainforest and it's beautiful. And solar does work here, but it's not the most efficient. You've got to want it. Okay, let's look at,
Is it a revenue program then for you guys?
no.
No.
What it is though, is the installed capacity counts towards our CETA goals. So again, we're not making a profit on community solar, believe me, that thing is razor thin. We are not really even spending much money on marketing the program because people are interested enough to where it's been fairly easy to fully subscribe it. So we're not spending a lot of administrative or marketing costs on the program. Most of the money is going towards the arrays. And then so when I talked about how with green power, PSC is not making those renewable energy claims, PSC is also not making, with community solar, it is installed capacity that they are claiming. So that's the installed capacity is the megawatt or the kilowatt. The REC is associated with a kilowatt hour or the megawatt hour. So the participants in community solar are getting the renewable energy, the sustainability claim, the carbon savings claim, and an energy credit for the share the energy that their share generated. They're getting that, and PSC is saying we built this thing and it's there and it's working. So we have a capacity goal to have such a certain amount of energy that's generated, capacity speaking. So we are counting community solar towards capacity goals, but the generation is for the subscribers.
So everybody understand the distinction between a kilowatt and a kilowatt hour?
One's energy and one's power.
Energy and usage, right?
The-
Go ahead. I said
Yeah, I mean,
energy
the one is like, what is happening instantaneously versus the other is capturing kind of an average. So if you could have your house and it could fluctuate from 300 watts to
Yeah,
You know,
a kilowatt is.
to 1,000 watts,
Is
and
it-
but over the course of an hour, it's gonna say over that hour, you averaged about 500 watts or 500 watt hours. For that hour,
Yeah.
and then it would do the same thing for a day or for a week or a month. It would
Yeah.
be the average throughout the entire.
I like to think of it as like a water pipe. The pipe is as big as it is. And it could be full and that much water could be rushing through that pipe, or there could be a trickle. The trickle or the amount of the water that's going through the pipe, that's the energy that's flowing. The pipe is the capacity. That's how much, that's the constraint of what could potentially happen.
So if I understand correctly, PSC is not making much money or any money on the program. In some cases is not able to claim credit for environment improvements. So what's driving this? If it's not policy and regulations, is it the corporate mission of PSC? Is it good corporate citizenship? What's the driver?
We do have a capacity requirement.
Okay.
We have goals where we need to have a certain amount of capacity to of renewable energy to be generated in the same way that we built Wild Horse Wind Farm or Beaver Creek Wind Farm in Montana. Like that's all renewable energy capacity that's on the system that's serving our customers. And so this counts as capacity.
Okay.
So it's a pipe that we built, but the customer that's paying for the energy that's being generated is buying the water that's flowing through it.
And does it help reduce the cost overall to build the pipe then? Is it like an offset?
I mean, there's all these like program finances that are kind of complicated. I mean, but yes and no. It's a capital investment. Yeah.
So how much, I'm still confused. How much, if I wanted to sign up for community solar, how much would my bill go up?
Well, depending on how much you use, we'd have to look and see how much energy you actually
The thing I
use.
used, last month I used 1,000.
I don't know. I'd have to like have a calculator to do this, but
Just based on the shares.
Yeah, some
It's-
shares, right?
yeah, exactly. So it's based on how many shares you would want to
So
buy.
each $20 for 1.46 kilowatts.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, I'd say the average home needs 3 to 4 shares to cover your consumption. And here's the
Over
other
the
thing
year.
too, is you buy it every month.
Sure, but like some months.
Yeah, and so you have to
December, it's gonna
be
be.
in the program for a year, 3 or 4 shares, the energy that's generated. It's all math.
And
But
it-
it's that amount.
So Leslie, you can tell by the comments, we're really interested in the subject, but I want to make sure you have enough time to get through. You've
Yeah.
got about 15 minutes left.
Okay,
We're on
let's keep going.
slide 7, so.
Let's keep, hey, I think the next 2 slides we've kind of already covered, so I'll run you through them just so that you have context so that when you see the, let's go ahead and look at the next slide. So this is just kind of demonstrating how it works, the interconnected grid. The light bulb is you, the customer. The renewable energy certificate is that little bill looking thing over. And so there's PSE generator down below where you're paying. There's independent power producers where you can be buying from them and it's all going onto the transmission line and being fed to your home. Then you have your bill, you're getting the extra money charged to you because you're making the purchase and you get to make the greenhouse gas emissions credit claim. The next one is community solar. The only thing that's different here is over there you get a credit. So you're paying more and you get a credit for the energy that's generated. And then I have the little map pinpoint because it's specific. You're buying from a specific resource. Okay. I was asked to talk about if there were any other things that people might be interested in. So I added this one slide on renewable natural gas. A lot of people like to, they point out that natural gas is not renewable, it's a fossil fuel. However, we can collect gas from dairy farms and landfills that can be refined and converted into natural gas and then injected into the pipeline. And because it's coming from a landfill or a dairy farm, we keep making garbage. That's considered a renewable resource. And I know, but we're making something that would otherwise be emitting. It's collecting the gas, it's refining the gas, and it's keeping it from going out.
I'm just
Hey,
Actually, no, isn't it burning the gas to
reacting to
get
the
the
irony.
methane? Are you burning the trash, I mean?
no,
You're not burning.
no. So some landfills will just burn the methane and that is reducing the carbon emissions, but they're still emitting. what you can do is collect that gas.
And that's what you guys are.
And then
doing.
it's refining. An independent producer is doing it. PSC is not doing it. So again, we're buying from a project that's in Eastern Washington that's collecting gas at Washington landfills. So everyone in this room, including me, is probably contributing to it. Yes, one.
So with this one, because this is one that is renewable with this, but this wouldn't necessarily be a green energy source, or would this still?
It would be considered a green energy source because it's made of a renewable resource.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then like this because there's also this distinction between green and clean.
Yeah. So in this case, it's cleaner.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah, but it's renewable. And it's one of these things where you're making something from garbage. And there's not a lot we can do with garbage other than watch it rot. So why not make something from it? Okay, we'll just move on. Happy to come back and talk RNG. Yep. No,
there we go.
This is still me.
Perfect.
Okay, I only have 2 slides left. So this is just kind of like, we have the Clean Energy Transformation Act. These are the major milestones. In 2025, we eliminated coal-fired resources from our capacity. So up until last year, there was coal being used.
I had about 6% on a remediation project I worked on. Yeah.
Yeah. In 2030, so now we're getting into like lawyer speak here. I don't know if there's any attorneys in the room, but the carbon neutral electric supply by 2030, 100% clean electricity by 2045. So the difference here is we have this whole time period to get to the end goal in 2045, which is 100% clean. So that means removing things like fossil fuels from the system, like natural gas from the electric system. Carbon neutral electric supply still is going to have natural gas in it. There's still going to be electricity made from burning natural gas. But we are doing all of these mitigation kind of programs, things like transportation electrification, like getting people to drive EVs instead of a gas-fired car. That is something that is reducing the carbon emissions in Washington State. And it's one of the measures that PSC can implement to help neutralize the fuel supply in Washington. There are also things like we can buy, or we have carbon offset projects. And so there's different ways to get to 2030. And then we'll have this 15-year stretch where we're trying to get to phase out natural gas. And so when you were asking,
From energy production, from electricity.
from
production.
electricity production.
So, not, okay. So natural gas.
They're not taking away your stove.
I've already got the and I got my heat pump water heater installed.
That's great.
I'm a sucker for this crap. I do all of them. So.
I love it. I love it. That's great. We should make a video about you.
You should. I do both green power and community solar, and I do the renewable gas, and I think I do the carbon offset one too.
Did you enjoy my letter from the annual report?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, I don't know what any of these numbers mean in terms of like scope. I have, then there's no way to translate it into like miles driven and cars off the road. I'm like,
I know, it's really hard. We try to make it fun though, at least.
Although.
Yeah. They do it, but none of that means anything to me.
Oh, that's.
I can share with you, but like we do this at work all the time. Like I don't know how you translate this to meaningful numbers to people is in this.
It's extremely challenging.
Really
Extremely challenging. There has to be a lot of faith and trust, which is another reason why I'm audited.
Right.
I get audited every year.
Let's not do anything with the 2040 or the 2045 goal with that whole, I think it's Cascadia project, bringing the electricity or the electric power from Eastern Washington over here with Oregon. You know what I'm
I
talking
think
about?
that is a transmission line thing.
Not this.
Well, it might be, but it might be related. So what we have in Washington, Matt's probably a more of an expert. We'll see if I get it right. In 2019, the legislature passed the Climate Commitment Act. Underneath the
Clean Energy Transition Act. See that?
Yeah.
Climate commitment was
It was in
in
2023.
20 or
2019 was CETA, was Clean Energy.
I think it was 2020 with CETA.
Okay, first there's the Climate Commitment Act. Who
Yeah.
cares about the year? First, there was the Climate Commitment Act, and underneath the Climate Commitment Act are 5 different things, one of which is the Clean Energy Transformation Act. The other is clean buildings, Washington Clean Buildings. And then there's three more.
There's a zero emission vehicle requirement where vehicles for sale have to be zero emission by a certain date,
Okay.
which I have in the next presentation.
Won't spoil it. But the governing thing is the Climate Commitment Act, the CCA. And then there's CETA, Clean Energy Transformation Act, that has to do with electricity. There's the Clean Buildings Act, which is requirements for buildings of a certain size that have to get their emissions down and they become more efficient. And then there's I didn't put the slide in here, but there's five things under the Climate Commitment Act that are basically like, there's the Climate Commitment Act, and then these are the ways we're going to get there to meet that. And CETA is one of them.
I will follow up next month's question and answer matrix with what those 5 things are for the commission, so we don't spend too much time on it tonight.
Yeah, I can get those for you if you don't have them.
Perfect. I think I have it somewhere in my files, but Matt, did you have anything to add to that? I think I might have been missing.
Slide that shows all those pieces, Leslie just described to a nice succession of which one came from which.
Yeah, I can't remember all the years, but I know.
The CCA was more the one that created the carbon market.
Okay. I will get that from you, Leslie, and share that with the
Okay, cool. So somebody asked, how do these programs work with Clean Energy Transformation Act? This was my attempt to answer that question.
So by the time you get to 2045,
Yes.
do they just go away?
I mean, we'll see. That's the difference between clean and green. There are still organizations that are going to want to support renewable energy. There are businesses that are going to want to be able to measure their emissions and say, or measure their own goals. We're using renewable energy. So there might still be a market for it. We'll see. It's 25 years old. We'll see when we put it to rest. The community solar program is going to be around for at least 15 years. Next slide. Okay. So we're making progress towards those goals. Since 2019, we've procured 6,000 megawatts, not megawatt hours, megawatts of renewable energy resources. We are expanding our renewable energy resources, large scale projects like the Beaver Creek one in Montana that I mentioned earlier. And then achieving these goals really requires balance. So keeping things strong, investing in infrastructure, like maybe what you were talking about with the transmission line. Let's go ahead and look at the next slide. And because I think this is it. Okay, so this is what customers can do. You don't have to participate in these programs if they're not right for you, but you can participate in the climate transition, the transition for the Clean Energy Transformation Act. The way we're doing it is local energy systems. Community solar is a distributed energy system. So we're looking for we're doing microgrids, batteries, solar. All those things are distributed energy resources that we are building and our customers are building, and we're interconnecting with them. We have really big demand response programs, which is basically like we're seeing customers as customers are partnering with us, and they're letting us, curb their thermostat at certain hours or call events and use the energy from your battery or something like that. And then electric vehicles and transit.
Or vary when you charge your vehicle, we can actually postpone your vehicle charging. Thousands of cars come home at the same time every night, plug in, big spike in the system. If plug in, don't think about it, we'll give you an economic financial reward, but we won't start charging the car till like 9 or 10 at night. If you have a compatible vehicle or compatible charger, sign up for the EV Flex program.
Yeah.
How fast is that one expanding?
What's that?
Can you get Rivian in it?
You haven't signed up on that one yet.
I don't work. It doesn't work for Rivian. It doesn't work for my charger.
Oh, well, you can upgrade the charger with the rebate for like $300 for a nice charge point charger. You can apply it through our market on our site.
Mid?
What's your charge?
It's a Grizzly. It's a dumb charger because the car is smart enough.
Oh, okay.
It does the charging anyway.
That's it.
That's it.
It was just that simple. 1 hour and plenty of questions.
Now you know why I'm here. It's kind of a simple program, but complicated in the details.
Yeah.
So I have a person, I got my bill today.
Uh-oh. Do we have time for this?
Steve, you have 5 minutes.
I used about 2,400 kilowatt hours last month.
Okay,
I got a lot of electric stuff in my house.
okay.
What are you?
Heat pumps,
Super user.
one for upstairs, one for downstairs. And I do have a electric car that I charge at home. So what I'm wondering is, can I just look at my electricity usage, how many kilowatt hours I got, multiply that by 1 cent, and that's what my 100% participation would be?
That's right.
Okay,
Yep. It's a penny more per kilowatt hour.
all right. For the first 600 and everything over that, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Okay,
That's another great talking point for messaging, right?
Mhm.
Part of our role is to take things we learn, presentations from very smart people like you, and then have we talk to our neighbors and other people in Spanish about it. And so we're always looking for what's the elevator speech, right? Why would you sign up for this?
Yeah.
so the other question I've got is in 2030, when Washington says you guys gotta be carbon neutral, what happens to this program?
That's going back to the couple of slides back where in 2030, we're going to have, there's still gonna be natural gas on the system. Again, we're making the difference, the choice between clean and green. There will be customers in 2030. I mean, I am predicting a decline in participation. I see what's happening and my program is becoming less and less relevant. That's okay with me. That's what the program is intended to do. It's intended to bridge for people that want it.
Because we as a city in our climate action plan, we have our baseline usage for vehicle miles traveled, buildings and energy, and natural gas usage. And this city is about 77% of the residents heat their house with natural gas. So it seems to me, and what we did was, is that we got little bar charts in our document that shows those three contributions. But in 2030, electricity goes away.
Not necessarily, but
Well, the assumption we're making, or the assumption that's being made in that document, is that Sammamish's carbon footprint, what we're going to take credit for, or the blame for, is going to disappear with respect to electricity usage.
that's not accurate.
I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm
There's
just
still
telling you
natural
what,
gas in the system in 2030. Where we'll be
Yeah.
phasing out natural gas, and natural gas has a carbon.
I understand that, but you will be offsetting that energy generation with natural gas for some sort of credit.
So it's a net goal, not a qualitative goal.
Pardon?
It's a net goal.
Yeah, I understand that, but the reason I'm bringing it up is, as a commission, we need to understand what happened in the original document that we've got right now in front of us. So we're going to have to revise one of these days
Next year.
with respect to what we're doing or considering in 2030. And what I'm hearing is what we're doing is probably not right.
I don't know enough about what is in your document, but I'm sure that PSC has people that would be willing to help you figure that out. I run the programs.
This is
what I'm talking
sustainability
about.
plan to drive like
Vehicles,
conversion to like 100%.
electricity usage, natural gas use. You can look at 2030, this is their baseline. 2030, there's no electricity.
In-house heating.
In the city's footprint.
In
according
the
to
city footprint, this is
Yeah.
the city footprint.
It's a laudable goal. It's not achievable.
No.
And I'm feeling pressed for time.
Yeah. Steve, I think that is the tip of the iceberg of a much larger
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted
And a lot of new data that's.
to bring it up.
Yep,
I have one more question
okay.
related to the program.
Okay,
So
it better be.
so Nick mentioned it, one of our
Yeah,
jobs.
mine-
Spend a
mine-
little bit
yes.
more time on this, just with the knowledge that if there are a lot of questions on the 2025 sustainability annual report, I
Yeah.
might have to table some of those.
Fair.
But while we have them here, I want to focus on it
Yeah.
all.
Before you pivot, it's gonna make a quick sentence to just seal what to come back to that. The reason why I say laudable, not achievable, is even if you were to achieve the goal of converting everybody in the city of Sammamish from a gas furnace to a heat pump.
Mhm.
All you're doing, because there isn't enough, we don't have the capacity to be able to get that much clean new generation on the system.
Yeah.
We would have to put more gas peakers in the system to handle those loads. So all you're doing is converting from direct burning gas in a furnace to burning more gas to produce electricity to run those heat pumps.
I know,
Right.
but
So
what I'm saying is that the state's gonna require you to offset that fossil fuel energy generation. Is that correct? The state is going to require you in.
You're right that the carbon footprint of the electricity will go down because of measures like using carbon offsets.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so
But
probably inappropriately, we're taking credit for
have a good time.
that.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm being flip because honestly, I don't know how to advise you on.
What
That is
again,
outside
we-
of my,
we need a lot more.
I know,
time for a good
I have a lot of
conversation.
words to say, but not necessarily on that topic.
Yeah,
That's outside of my scope.
yeah, I think, Steve, that's part of, again, a larger conversation with the climate action plan. We are not the only city,
I was gonna
PSC
say.
is not the only
Right.
utility
Yeah.
facing some of these questions. And part of the reason the climate action plan was created as a living document, as a snapshot in time, working towards these future goals, is that as more technology becomes available, as we learn more about, current situations, as more independent producers come online, all of that will shift over time, and we can amend and update the climate action plan as appropriate. Whether that means looking at our goals, looking at our actions, looking at our community engagement tactics, and kind of where we're focusing. That is part of the climate action plan update conversation.
I'm just planting a seed.
Absolutely.
So Tim, I apologize.
So one of our goals, as Nick mentioned, is we go out and talk to people in the city about this stuff. When you talk to people, what are like the top 2 or 3 questions that you get? Because we're a bunch of weirdos asking probably like really weird deep questions that maybe normal people don't. Like, what do we need to be prepared with to be able to answer like really quickly? Like, this is what it means. This is what it works. I think the 1 cent thing is probably a good one. Like, it's just
Penny more
that
per
one is-
kilowatt
yeah,
hour,
that's like
$4
the thing, like-
minimum.
yeah. What are the taglines and what do people ask you so we can be prepared? when we
Yeah,
go to
I mean,
farmers markets?
I think you all asked some more technical questions, but not out of line with what people asked. Because if
Okay.
I'm having a conversation with somebody, they're probably gonna get to like, well, this doesn't make any sense. Like, how does it work? Explain it to me. And so I am always explaining the difference between a kilowatt and a kilowatt hour. I'm always explaining what a renewable energy certificate is. I would hate to think that you would have to do that too.
There is a frequently asked questions sheet that was included as an agenda item for tonight that we'll have printed at some of our tabling events. And then I can follow up with Leslie to get some very high level talking points. We also have a 1-pager that the commission should be familiar with and we can bring to tabling events as well. So between that 1-pager and the FAQ sheet that Puget Sound Energy developed for us, you should be covered. And if there's really specific questions, Puget Sound Energy is a wonderful partner of the city and we'd be happy to track down the answers for whatever resident might have.
For sure. But and honestly, like a lot of conversations are, but usually they're continue.
Well, we've got Earth Day coming up, so there's an opportunity for us to send people over to the PSE booth and vice versa. Part of the conversation.
Great.
Yeah.
Exactly. Christian Swan, were your questions answered?
I can explain later.
Pretty much. I mean, to me, this is like when I think of people coming to our booth, and I was going to ask, my question was going to be, can you give us your 30-second? What did you say to me when I walk up to you?
Mhm.
But to me, this is almost like this is a values program. So you're not teaching math, you're teaching, in my opinion, I think it's more about values. It's like, look, you want to make a difference. Solar panels and a heat pump are really out of realm for a lot of people right now. So how can I make a difference?
Yeah.
That's what I feel this is. And
Yeah.
so
You can make
to
a
most
measurable
people-
difference.
Yeah. And so then saying $4 minimum and it's a cent more per kilowatt hour
Mhm.
and show our thermometer. And then anything higher, it's like you could show that fact, the FAQs,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's meant to be like, we're not teaching them. Maybe Steve is, but I feel like you're more just talking to the general.
It's the same way, like if you fly, you have the option of purchasing carbon offset credits for your flight. It's kind of like this for your daily energy use,
That's
right?
great.
Yeah.
That's a great way
Yeah.
to look at it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't expect anybody at this table to be as comfortable talking about the individual details as I am. I've been doing it for a really long time.
Yeah.
And my background is in marketing.
So maybe can you give us your 30 seconds? I walk up to your booth.
I get. Any
30
more
seconds.
Yeah.
See it?
Personal carbon footprint reduction for as little as $4 a month.
Okay, there you go.
Yes.
Personal carbon
Simple
footprint
as that.
reduction.
Yeah.
Was $4 a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's been my pleasure.
That's good.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you very
Thank you
much.
for being here.
Yeah.
Question.
Okay,
I'm so sorry.
Tell me.
Thank you guys so much. So I just looking at the two programs, I see like community solar is more specific than solar.
Yeah.
I also know it's more expensive because of that. So what would incentivize someone to choose community solar over green power?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It goes to the values question that Christy was talking about. Some people really want to know exactly where it's coming from. They want that specificity. The Green Power Program, even though it's been around for 25 years, it is vague.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, we're talking about projects that aren't in Washington. But it's real and it's measurable. But when you can see the array and you know it's right there, it just becomes more.
I'm purchasing power from my kid's middle school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's worth $20 to some people. That's worth $40 to some
It's,
people.
I mean, we have people that are like 10 chairs and it's wild. I mean, I've been like, do I need to call them, you know, like and make sure well, I just have a restaurant like a year or so ago. They were in Snoqualmie and they enrolled in something like 15 shares. And I called them and I was like, do you know what you just did? And they were like, no. And I was like, let's back you out of this. Because like, thank you, but I want to make sure you know that you're substantially increasing your bill. And so I always look for stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then once you're in the community solar program, you're in it for a year.
Oh,
You know, you can't just back out in the winter.
yeah.
You have to ride it out from equinox to equinox.
That's where it pays off though. I've had like zero electric bill in the middle of summer.
That's great.
I'm part of the Ellenberg group because I want all the sun. I don't know why anybody's doing it over here.
I know, but it's so it goes. Why are people doing it over here? Because they want to feel it. You know, some people are just like, I want the biggest return I can get. I want the lowest. I want to maximize my potential and my credit. And that's a great thing too. It's about 50-50. When we were designing the program, it was, do you want it in your neighborhood or do you want it to be maximum? And we did all these surveys and about half the people said I want the maximum return and half the people said I want it on my kids' middle school. And we were like, great, we'll do both.
Awesome. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Good to meet you. Tim, I'll get in touch with you about that video.
And Tim, I won't speak for Leslie, but I consider myself a weirdo sheep.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Have a great night.
Take care.
That was awesome.
All right. Great presentation and good discussions, but we need to vote.
I think just one thing real quick for all of you is that if you're at the booth, this helps us get to our carbon goals. I know we're double counting, Steve, but it does, right? And so that's why we're promoting it, right? So that's that last talking point of why this group and why we're coalescing.
I made several public comments during the generation of the document. You can tell where they went.
So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
Yeah, that's a good last comment. It helps lower our.
it gets us to our
emissions
cap
for our-
goals.
Yeah.
Right?
Emissions. Our climate.
One thing at a time.
Good, I have 4 talking points.
Okay, let's move on to the nominations for chair. We'll do chair first, we'll do vice chair. If you're not familiar with the process, it's unlike your commission appointment that can vary from 1 to forever, 5 years or so. The chair and vice chair is a 1-year commitment. And does anyone have any questions about the roles and responsibilities of the chair or vice chair before we vote?
Just like a brief summary of the overall like monthly responsibilities.
Yeah, so every month in advance of the meeting, so like today, Rose and I had about half hour, 45-minute discussion where we preview the agenda. We make sure that, one, we've got enough time, it's pertinent. We review the calendar for the year to look at all the upcoming events and how we can support them, like Earth Day, the farmers markets, things like that. So Rose and I tag up once a month. And then like I've been doing tonight, it's, kicking off the meeting. It's doing, things that require votes. The chair will lead those discussions. And it's really just partnering with Rose to make sure we get out of here at 8 o'clock. Yeah. And then, yeah,
Were you just about to speak on the vice chair as well?
go ahead.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just going to say, vice chair, as you all might have experienced at our most recent meeting, when the chair is absent, the vice chair will typically stand in for the chair. So I typically only meet with the chair unless the chair is absent, in which case the vice chair would then meet with me for that monthly meeting.
Yep.
If the commission would prefer to have chair and vice chair present, that's something that we could talk about, but it's really just to support and be aligned with what's on the agenda so that the chair feels supported and prepared to lead the meeting.
And one other thing I'll add, conceptually, and I don't think this has happened in the 2 years we've been in commission, the chair could be asked to join Rose if there's a report out to the city council, whether it's a support function or it hasn't really come up, so I don't know what that role would be, but that could be another function of the chair as well. Anything to add on that, Rachel?
What do they do?
Present to the city council
Oh,
or
present.
or
Oh.
During council meeting.
yeah.
Oh,
Present the commission's like recommendation. So, and that will come up this
Okay,
year, right?
okay.
It definitely will. So as that's gonna be more for next year, I think, but as we're looking at, we have a budget coming up, right? So I would expect that there are gonna be things that you all are gonna be interested associated with that, right? We also have the electrification study that we just did that you all will take a look at. That then council will need to make some decisions about associated with said budget, right? And that I suspect that you all will have thoughts about what you think that the council should do with that, and that's where you should share that. So that is coming for whoever's thinking.
Okay, any other questions? All right, well, let's move ahead. So the way we'll do this is I'll go around the room. You can self-nominate, and then we're going to need someone to second that nomination. And then we'll do a vote. It'll just be a simple hand vote. If there's a majority, that person will be elected chair. If there's a tie, we'll do a revote. Any questions on that process?
Are we doing one first and then the other?
We'll do chair first and then we'll do vice chair. Okay.
You can nominate yourself or you can nominate one of your peers.
That's true. Okay. So would anyone like to present a nomination for chair?
I would like to nominate Christie.
Okay.
Second.
Second, okay.
That's so nice.
All right. Anyone else would like to self-nominate or nominate someone?
I don't know who wants to do it. I'll nominate you.
You can also decline a nomination if you don't feel comfortable
I
or.
just want everyone to feel like if they'd like
Yeah.
to do it, that they want to be part of the vote. Would anyone else like to do
Going once, going twice. Okay. All in favor of Christie taking over as the 2026 commission chair? Please raise your hand.
it?
Anyone opposed? So I'll tell you, in the history of this commission, there's only been one nomination every year to be the chair.
Were there two?
Oh.
Yeah. All right, vice chair.
Thank you.
I would like to nominate myself to be vice chair this year.
I'll second that.
Okay, all right. Anyone else?
I'd be happy doing it, but I'm also cool with you continuing in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who wants to second my nomination?
Second.
All right, very good. That's kind of weird.
It is
Behind
weird.
myself. Yes, thank you.
So what would happen next is typically,
We have an odd number.
the chair or whoever, we would need someone to move to vote on the vice chair and then a second to that motion.
We don't need that.
No,
much.
okay. Great. Well, then, let's go ahead and vote in the order of nomination. So, those who would like, and I just want to clarify, you can only vote for one person. So, those who would like to vote for Nick as vice chair, please raise your hands now.
But do they give a little speech or no? Like. Right? It's such a harder.
Each other a lot, but absolutely, if you want to give a couple sentences.
Well, maybe Swan would like a chance to say something. I don't know.
I'd have to come up with something on the spot, which I could probably do.
I don't know. Do you guys want to hear a little speech?
Well, I guess I would like to
How do you
hear,
know?
why do you want the job?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd enjoy having like the vice chair spot more just as a way to learn more about the process and what everything is involved. Kind of the same way where like I first joined the commission on the 6 month term because it wasn't a very firm commitment, and that way if I didn't enjoy being on the commission I could just dip out politely after the 6 months. I ended up liking it a lot, so I stuck around, and now you're stuck with me for 4 years. So for the vice chair, it's the same sort of thing where it's not like a very strong commitment where I'm going to have to be doing something regularly every month, but it'll be an opportunity to sometimes learn a little bit more about what's going on with things. Would be fun to do that. It's not something I'm super strongly attached to, so, but I think it could be a fun opportunity. That's pretty much the core of it.
Nick, did you want to say a couple words?
I would like to be vice chair just because I've had the knowledge of being chair. I've been on the commission for a few years. I feel like I could really support the person in their chair role this year to be successful. Learn a lot of things working with Rose and Rachel that I could pass on. So to me, it was almost like a mentoring transition to whoever is the new chair and covering if they're not available.
Okay. Going to
It's so hard.
order of nominations. As a reminder, the chair and vice chair terms are 1 year. So the commission will again vote in February of next year. Typically, this is a February timeline. So remember, this is a 1 year commitment, and then those of you with longer terms will have multiple opportunities to serve again, or get reappointed and then try to serve again as chair and vice chair. So this is ultimately a commission decision, and we're going to vote in order of nomination. So all those in favor of Nick Garson as vice chair for 2026, please raise your hand now. Okay, that is a majority. So for this year, Nick Garson will serve as vice chair.
There's next year.
Knowing how this works, sure, next year. Get a full plan.
I'll remember this and nominate him next year.
No, and that's also a very solid, because I've run things before where we have like the person in charge, and like we get a new person in charge, and for the first like couple months of that person being like responsible for things, we have the previous person as like the vice president or vice chair or whatever it is, and only later after that do we bring in another person as the new vice, because it is really helpful for transitions. So no.
And I appreciate you being like letting me do it.
No,
Thank you.
it's all yours, Christy.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, I think you'd be very good at being our chair.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, great. Well, Christy, I will be meeting with you before the April commission meeting and making sure that you have everything you need. And any other last comments on Puget Sound Energy before we move on? Perfect. All right. We are just a little bit tight on time tonight. So if there are, really more detailed or in-depth questions that you have related to any of these slides, maybe write those down and send those to me after the fact. Obviously, we're still taking questions. And if there's something that's really relevant or pertinent, we can spend the time on it tonight. But some of those more specific questions, I think, would be more appropriate for the question and answer matrix that would be attached to the April commission meeting. And then we can cover those questions during the staff and commission report time on the agenda.
Just for the sake of making sure we get through everything, what I would probably suggest is, as we're going through this, write down questions. When we get to the end of the presentation, can always go back to slides to ask them and write them down so you don't forget why you were asking them. But that way we can just make sure we get through all the information, and then we can cover questions with whatever time we have left.
I think that sounds great. And still, if you do have a very pressing question, this is an open floor, open discussion.
Absolutely.
Or especially clarifying questions on slides specifically. Okay. I just want to preface this by saying you all are the first group to be receiving this program update, and this PowerPoint is supported by a written report that was included as an agenda attachment and has some active hyperlinks in there to additional supporting materials. This program update in a version will be going to council at some point this year. Obviously, we do have some new council members that are currently getting onboarded. And so when the time is right, we'll be bringing that to them. And if there's specific comments, questions, or feedback that comes from this presentation, we can discuss and consider how that might be included as well.
And Nick, that may be a great opportunity for the chair, vice chair, or other members of the Sustainability Commission to come and say, you're gonna get this update tonight, right?
Yeah.
And kind of give some thoughts.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was thinking too.
Yep.
Right. Just given a brief overview of this program, I know we have some newer commissioners with us. So under the sustainability program at the City of Sammamish, we have two guiding documents, which are the Climate Action Plan passed in 2023, adopted in 2023 by Council, as well as the Urban Forest Management Plan adopted in 2019. We've been pretty focused on the Climate Action Plan with the more recent adoption of this plan and creation of the Sustainability Commission, but we'll be working on the Urban Forest Management Plan in future years. That document is in need of an administrative and technical update, given that it's been 7 years. And so at a future meeting later this year, we'll be sharing some updates on Urban Forest Management Plan implementation and potential update needs and timeline. There is one full-time city staff member dedicated to this work. That is myself. And I started with pretty much aligning with the Climate Action Plan adoption in June of 2023. So I started in June, the Climate Action Plan was adopted in December, and then the commission had its first meeting in February 2024 to support staff in the implementation of the Climate Action Plan, provide community input, and support community outreach. Just touching on some of the things that Puget Sound Energy had touched on as well, under the Climate Commitment Act and some related policies. So these are kind of the umbrella statewide policies that the city's Climate Action Plan is working under, some shared goals, some policy that is being taken care of for the city, which helps identify where the areas are that the city really has control and purview over in terms of lowering our greenhouse gas emissions and living more sustainable lives. So some of the three main ones that I've highlighted here are the Zero Emission Vehicles Policy, the Clean Buildings Performance Standards, and the Clean Energy Transformation Act. If you do have specific questions on any of this, I'm going to ask that will be a follow-up for the Q&A matrix, because they can get pretty technical. And obviously, as you see here, there's 7 different climate policies that all fall under that climate action umbrella and greenhouse gas emissions reduction. But as you can see here, we've got some pretty lofty goals, all leading to that 95% reduction by 2050. All right, so just before I get too far into this, I just wanted to give Nick a moment to kind of level set how the sustainability work plan fits in with the climate action plan and the work of the commission.
Okay. Thanks, Rose. So it took me a while to figure this out. The city does 2-year funding cycles. So what you're seeing, these are the sustainability action items that we've been working on last year and this year. If you're newer to the commission and you haven't read the climate action plan, or if it's been a while since you've looked, I would encourage everybody to take another look at the climate action plan, because there are lots of activities that not necessarily represented in this table that could inform what this group will be working on in 2027 and 2028. So a question I have for Rachel is, what is the funding cycle for the city council to fund these activities? And then what role is the commission going to play? And I would assume later this year in that process.
Yeah, so there's a couple of different things. One is the city will really kick off the budget process in earnest after the break, right? So council always takes August off.
Yeah.
So that's when that will really kick off. That being said, we will have conversations before the break, especially because we have so many new members, right? To we need some direction from the council
Mhm.
to even start building the budget, right? So there's gonna be some of those initial conversations, right, which I think are gonna be important. And one of the things that we're gonna be asking the council is kind of, what are your hopes and dreams? What do you want us to think about? And so listening to those conversations, right, and either supporting what you're hearing, right? There are multiple options there, right? That is a place to engage. When we come back with this electrification study, that's gonna be really a question to the council is, do you want us to put these additional investments into the coming budget, right? So there'll be a number of different ways to engage in that way, whether it's on a specific item like the electrification study, or maybe more broadly, but hey, we heard the council had all of these great ideas that we think really help get us to our climate goals. We want to go to the next council meeting and say, yes, you should do that, right? Or the inverse thereof, whoever, you know.
Would it also be fair to say that as the council goes through the climate action plan, they might say, you know, the commission really hasn't addressed X, Y, and Z. And then that becomes part of the directive for that time period as well.
I don't think that the council would necessarily go through but
Like categories like water, waste.
I think it would be more along the lines of staff, what do you think we need to do in the next biennium to achieve our climate action goals,
Okay.
right? And then staff would work on some proposals.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so the way that at the beginning of this biennium, we worked on, I came to you with a menu of maybe 20 actions
Yep.
from the however many actions are in the climate action.
There's a
plan.
lot, yeah.
And then those were the 20 that we had worked to say, hey, this is what we think is achievable in the biennium, but we can't do all 20. Where should we start? What should we prioritize? And then the commission helped inform that. So we'll be doing a similar process after some of the budget council direction has been made more clear with, for example, E5 on here, climate action plan implementation. That's a pretty broad work plan item that the commission helped us narrow down and then informed our implementation.
And if you weren't part of the commission during what Rose just described, Rose presented a menu and said, we can only serve 6 items this year. And all of us got an opportunity to weigh in on what we thought was important for that time period. And then we went with kind of the group consensus on what the priorities were going forward. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have definitely heard, we've definitely heard the desire for the commission to weigh in more with the council, and Rose and I have actively been discussing different ways of doing that. So like,
Great.
the electrification study is coming up, right? There may also be places where there's not a direct line to the sustainability, but that you know it will affect sustainability, right? And so we would encourage you, if you see those, to bring that up so that then the commission can have a discussion about it, right? And it's really, I'm talking about budget at this point, right? So this city, I think everybody knows, has some difficult choices to make, right? And so everything gets affected, right? When you have difficult choices to make.
Yeah. Including, you know, the town center, there's a lot of the development requirements there that intersect with some of the climate action plan objectives, right? So I think there's overlap between our commission and the planning commission and others, but we don't really interact with others.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we definitely have that on our mission for this year.
Okay.
So some of it though, it's easy for us to come and say, what do you think about the electrification study, right? But it is different if you all come to us and say, hey, I heard this thing and I think it affects us, right? So we'll work through that together.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you, Rachel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that just touches on our discussion from last month of when things come from the commission to council versus when the council is actively asking the commission for feedback. It's a two-way street that we're working to navigate and appreciate all of your partnership and support along the way. So looking at this work plan, I know many of you have seen this in some iteration previously. I'm going to be walking through each of the 11 actions in our PowerPoint today, kind of giving some high-level feedback and metrics. All of these actions are also included in the written report, maybe not in the exact same format, just because of the amount of information included. Basically, as you're taking a look at this, you can see we made some really great progress in 2025, and we have a lot of things already kicked off in 2026. The couple of items that are still marked as planned often involve additional budget decisions, direction by council, or partnership from other departments, and are definitely on our radar, but have, for example, the urban forest management plan, waiting on the wildland urban interface codes to help inform that update and get some updated tree canopy assessment data as well. And then making sure that we have staff capacity to engage a consultant to get that work done. The right-of-way tree study implementation is similar situation with public works. We're really looking for some direction and budget clarification from council, as well as needing to engage consultants with some of that work. So with the right-of-way tree study implementation, it has started in some ways, but not to the level that would justify calling it complete. So that's why we have those marked the way they do. And then I'll walk through each of these and you can ask specific questions, but just a reminder that part of this work also includes a presence and engagement with regional groups that help support the city and are really important partners in getting some of these work plan items done. Okay. Moving on to E1, Energy Smart East Side. So as a reminder, this is the city's heat pump program that provides education and resources to all residents, as well as rebates to residents of all income levels. The Energy Smart East Side program report is linked in the sustainability report that was provided as an agenda attachment. And we'd like to bring this back as an agenda item with some actual Energy Smart East Side program staff, the ones that are managing and interacting with folks, just so that they can give you a more personalized presentation and maybe answer some questions and provide feedback on this program. But the big picture is that we are making really great progress through this shared program. Energy Smart East Side is funded and managed in partnership for 6 East Side cities: Sammamish, Issaquah, Redmond, Kirkland, Mercer Island, and Bellevue. And collectively, we have installed over 800 heat pumps in East Side city homes. We expect to actually reach 1,000 heat pumps this year. We've been able to, we've been able to achieve carbon reductions of 28,000 metric tons of CO2 or CO2 equivalent. And 68% of the heat pumps that this program is supporting are installed in low to moderate income homes. So equity is a very big focus of this program. And across all of the cities, these are some really great metrics that we're looking at. I just want to remind folks that Sammamish did join this program a little bit after. One of the requirements to be a member of this program is to have a climate action plan and a dedicated staff member and funding to support this work. And so while this program did start in 2022, the city of Sammamish did not become a participant until 2024 with the adoption of the climate action plan. So we've been seeing momentum and increases in our numbers. So you can see even from 2024 to 2025, we've had an increase in the number of heat pumps and rebates that our residents are using through this program. And then even more in terms of the one-on-one energy advising appointments that are free to residents. You can meet with someone from this program at no cost to you to learn about heat pumps, get personalized advice in your home, and then if a heat pump is not the right fit for you, get advice and resources for energy efficiency improvements as well. Something that's exciting about Energy Smart Eastside for 2026 and beyond is we're doing a renter pilot program right now. This program was previously only available to homeowners, but now we're piloting a program. If you are income qualified as a renter, we can work with you and the homeowner to get a heat pump installed in your home. One of the great things about Energy Smart Eastside is our partnership with local contractors. We actually have a $500 and $1,000 rebate that is fully funded by our partner contractors at no cost to the city. And over 80% of the funding that goes towards Energy Smart Eastside is directly applied to heat pumps. So there's a pretty lean staff that is supporting this program across the 6 cities. We're really, really focused on getting folks to the rebates and then executing and getting that heat pump in their home. So definitely encourage you to read the Energy Smart Eastside annual report. And then if you have specific questions about this program, send them my way. And we will have part of a meeting actually dedicated to Energy Smart Eastside later this year.
Steve, count for two.
It is, yeah.
You don't have to.
Okay, perfect.
Okay,
One thing I just want to note is we're really focused on single family residential mechanical permits that are alterations or additions. When you're looking at the permit data for cities, we don't want to be taking credit for new construction where you're installing a heat pump, you're not replacing or improving your energy efficiency. So this is really taking someone who's been in their home with a furnace and improving the energy
So yes,
efficiency.
he counts for two.
Yeah.
Open the number though.
Okay.
Do you have a question, Stephanie?
Rose just answered it. Thank you.
Oh.
Okay, perfect. And then you all are very familiar with the Sustainable Sammamish Guide, as you all are key partners in actually designing and executing the guide. So we made some great changes that I've heard positive feedback from in 2025, including quotes by commissioners and your photos.
Yeah, that's a Gen X selfie there. It's not great.
We did include some information on tax credits and incentives. There's a kid focus so that this is a little bit more interactive with the youth of our community, as well as some how-to guides that folks can clip and refer back to. Some 2026 updates that we have discussed and will discuss more in depth later this summer are specifically highlighting city programs like Green Power and Energy Smart Eastside, maybe having some dedicated pages to those programs rather than just QR codes and little anecdotal quotes. And then an update on climate action plan progress as well, so that the city can see the progress that's being made.
Yep.
Do we have any way to measure how the public is interacting with this? Like how many people are reading it?
We don't. So this guide is sent out to every household in Sammamish. The same way you receive an every other month newsletter, every household in Sammamish will receive this guide. I think the best way to measure if someone is actually reading and interacting with the guide is seeing how our program participation may fluctuate with the information that's being included in the guide. So, you know, if we're specifically choosing to highlight some of the transportation programs in 2026, then we can see, oh, there was a tangible or not so tangible increase in use of those programs, and residents are being made aware of this information. What we do track is our social media metrics and our engagement at community events. Unfortunately, there's no way for us to go into every folks' home and ask them, you know, what did you see on page 3 of the guide?
Stephanie, if your picture's in the guide and you get a text from pointing to your friends noticing it, that's one metric. Yeah,
I got quite a few.
Yeah. The big focus of this guide is community education, right? So even if someone might not interact and go click on the website, at least they're getting the information. And we try to make it pretty broad across all sections of the climate action plan, so that there's information for folks in all different situations who may have different interests. You know, maybe they're not so interested in electrification, but they're really interested in how to plant a tree. So we try to make the content broad so it appeals to as many residents as possible.
That makes sense. Thank you.
All right, Puget Sound Energy Green Power. You all are very familiar with this now. This is in progress. Super exciting that we're already at 24% of our goal. Just have some numbers highlighted here that are explained a little bit more in detail in the written report. But the main takeaways are that we did enroll all of our city facilities. We have over 1 million pounds of carbon reduction as a result of this program, and we are offsetting almost 2 million kilowatt hours of energy consumption. So the city felt it was really important for us to take that first step before asking residents to take that step. So we really wanted to make sure all city facilities were enrolled before engaging with PSC on the community Green Power Challenge. So as you can see, for 2026, we have this goal and then a 10K reward with potential stretch rewards if we exceed our goal, which if things continue the way they are, I do anticipate we will.
The website, it doesn't update.
It There's a little bit of a lag time from
Yeah,
when
it's a couple of
PSC.
months. I
So-
looked this morning and it's still the,
February.
was it February? I think it's the first of February.
Yeah, that's what that
Mhm.
says.
Yeah, so they don't have any March numbers.
They haven't updated it for March yet, so you may have heard Leslie tonight saying that she wanted to wait until she presented to the commission
Oh,
tonight
okay.
to give us
All
the
right, so
information.
24% would mean 240 people have signed up.
Exactly. So
Okay.
I would anticipate that being updated in the next week or so. And then we'll make sure we get an accurate update for our thermometer exercise at Earth Day, where folks can fill in if they sign up right then.
Well, I'm gonna go home and sign up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's it,
$4.
25?
Right there, that's the speech. Join the 2,000 Spanish customers already
Yeah.
reducing for just $4 a month.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't be left behind.
Don't be
Yeah.
Spots are filling up.
Yeah. It's only money.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to waste reduction programs. For those of you who have not attended one of our 5 city recycling events, I highly encourage you to. We have 2 coming up on April 4th and April 11th. Each of our recycling events have different materials that are available for collection. So if you check our city website, you can see maybe you have items on April 4th that would be better, or items on April 11th. Some examples of items are bulky wood items, electronics, styrofoam, paper shredding. There's a whole bunch that they'll take, batteries. And this is a really good way for the Sammamish community to reduce the amount of hazardous waste that is going into your garbage and also increase the amount of recycling of hard to recycle materials. This event is done with, these events are done in partnership with the city of Issaquah and are funded through a recycling grant that the city receives in partnership with Issaquah. So our 2025 numbers are looking really great. We had almost 5,000 cars over the course of the year and over 420,000 pounds of materials. So
Get there early.
That's amazing.
these events are very well attended by the community and are a really important resource for our residents when it comes to the waste reduction part of the climate action plan. We also had a 2025 community repair event. This was an event that we did in partnership with the King County Library System and the King County Solid Waste Department. They do these events in a number of communities each year, and we had 120 attendees, and skilled King County volunteer fixers were able to repair over 90 items. I'm happy to share that we were able to get on their list for 2026 as well.
Oh, okay.
They have
July.
a limited number of communities and a limited number of staff. So we were able to get in there early enough and have that scheduled for the end of July this year at the library. So if you have items that you're thinking, oh, maybe I'll throw that out, hold on to them and bring them to this event. All right. And then this big one, E5, pretty broad, talking about climate action plan implementation. There are a number of programs that fall under this kind of council work plan item, some of which are called out as separate work plan items, but some of which are just under this kind of umbrella bucket. So for example, under the buildings and energy section of the climate action plan, we already touched on Energy Smart East Side, but the city also received an updated greenhouse gas emissions inventory through our partnership with the K4C, the King County Cities Climate Collaborative. We also ran a solarized program in 2025 in partnership with the East Side Climate Partnership cities, which are the same cities that engage with Energy Smart East Side. We had a limited time solar purchasing and education program for our residents. And then of course the community education that you all support at farmers markets, other events that the city supports through social media, every other month newsletters, and general community resources on our website as well. For solid waste, we already touched on the recycling and community repair events. Solid waste is really big on resident education, as well as at events. So something that the sustainability ambassadors supported last year was helping folks sort waste at the farmers market. They will be doing something very similar in 2026 at the farmers market and at Earth Day. And then for education, you all attended the recycling center tour, which I think was very informative for all of us. Under water and natural resources, I kind of joined those two together in one because those sections of the climate action plan have less actions than some of the other ones, and are kind of a natural touch point between water and natural resources. Water is in some ways a natural resource. This really falls under our volunteer restoration program. So Sebastian, who came and spoke to you all last fall, working with our volunteers and helping at our manage our restoration sites. The urban forest management plan is very much related to the natural resources section of the climate action plan. It is kind of our robust planning document to help manage the city's urban forest. And then a big one for this is community education, especially recognizing so much of the land of our community is residential. So folks knowing how to take care of their own properties and their own plants, species, and land is really important. So that's typically a pretty big section of the Sustainable Sammamish Guide, and there are a lot of resources on our website as well for folks.
Maybe one area we could put a pin on this for a future conversation, but on water conservation is understanding, well, what is the consumption rate on the plateau, and how are we going to reduce or maintain that as the population grows? And I know the water district probably has that kind of data, and so I think that'll be important to understand. Like, how do we improve something if we don't understand how it's being measured?
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. You know, a potential agenda item that we could look at is having the water districts actually come speak to the commission.
Yep.
Water is one of those areas of the climate action plan where we really rely and appreciate our partnerships with our water districts, right?
I know Jay at the water, so you guys might know him as well.
So the water districts have their own programs for
Yep.
water conservation that the city partners on as appropriate.
Yep.
All right, just being aware of time here. Transportation, I think I have already previously presented to you all, but we did get some data in from our partners at King County Metro on MetroFlex and community van ridership. There are going to be some bus route changes to Route 269 and 554 coming in August. So we'll bring that to the commission for awareness, for community outreach, and then of course, Orca card registration and some of these events and campaigns that we've had as yearly recurring.
There's a lot of celebrations on March 28th when the train goes across the lake.
You got your e-bike yet?
Don't have my e-bike yet. no.
Okay.
Cannot wait for that.
But I hear MetroFlex is expanding across the Spanish Plateau to Issaquah Highlands.
MetroFlex did just have a service area update where they're getting rid of kind of the Squawk neighborhood and expanding into
That's
the Issaquah Highlands. So folks who are able to
Should be.
travel and meet their needs within that service area will now have more opportunity.
And we can now take MetroFlex to Issaquah Highlands.
Exactly,
Right?
yeah. And the
Okay.
city has done
That's
some
cool.
social media outreach on this as well as King
That's
County
great.
Metro and MetroFlex itself.
Okay, that's good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think community outreach with the transportation side of things is really important because a lot of times I hear people like kind of bashing like transportation here locally. And I actually didn't know about community vans, and I think like mostly students are the ones that use this. So if more people knew about it, it would be much more used. I think we could get those numbers of total trips up. Just wanted to note that.
Seems like at our outreach, it's in two groups. It's like the students and the elderly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another big group.
And that's exactly who these programs are kind of designed for, is those
Mhm.
folks who might have additional mobility
Mhm.
needs or access.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. This is more of an internal tool, the Green Purchasing Guide. 2025 was our first full year of implementation after a brief pilot in 2024. We're continuing to work with our departments on green purchases. And we also shared this resource with our school districts and the sustainability ambassadors team for classroom learning and an additional resource so they don't have to reinvent the wheel because we already have it done. So this is great. I just want to note this is specifically for city purchases, not for city contracts. So that's just one thing to note. We hope to see these numbers continue to go up as more departments implement and utilize this tool for more of their purchases. We have talked extensively about the East Side Climate Partnership. This is included as one of Council's work plan items because it is a pretty key partnership for the city to reach our climate action plan goals. Energy Smart East Side is an ongoing program. Solarize was specific to 2025, but we are working with the city of Issaquah through the East Side Climate Partnership interlocal agreement on a tree giveaway in November of this year. And we are also partnering with the city of Issaquah in this year and next year on a reusable and compostable serviceware program for our food service providers across both cities. And that is funded through a grant, which is great, through the RE Plus program. So a lot going on with the East Side Climate Partnership. And then we also have the Urban Forest Management Plan update. Even though this document is in need of an update, there are some implementation items that we were able to really jump on when the sustainability coordinator role was created. A really notable one being Tree City USA. Trees are a huge asset and community priority in Sammamish, and really demonstrating our commitment to our trees through getting certified as a tree city demonstrates the city's will for caring for our urban forests. It celebrates the great work of our restoration and volunteer teams, and just reiterates the city's commitment to our trees under the Arbor Day Foundation umbrella. So that UFMP update is planned to kind of come to the commission in late 2026, and will hopefully kick off late 2026, more likely 2027.
I was gonna say the planning for the update.
Okay.
That will take significant staff time, and it will take consultant dollars in order to do that work. So
yeah, it will require developing a scope of work and looking at the existing document. So it's going to be a pretty hefty lift. Just a couple things to highlight here is we did get a tree canopy assessment done through the King Conservation District. We're kind of in the final stages of that work right now. So once it's complete, we'll be bringing it to the commission, and that will help inform the urban forest management plan.
Yeah, because our Sammamish doesn't show up on their website.
It will soon.
Okay.
Yes.
Steve's out there checking all the websites.
I cannot resist.
I'll move relatively quickly through this slide because this is just celebrating the great work you all have done. It was a clear council priority for this biennium, and we really want council to be aware of the great work that you all have done with community engagement at our numerous events, and then specific community groups like HOAs.
Mhm.
Some additional events that we're considering for 2026. We already were at Lunar New Year, Pahani Days. I mentioned the PTA event that's coming up. And Mizan is not here tonight, but he also invited me to go present to the Muslim Community Association in Sammamish. So we'll be providing them some resources as well. And then we have sustainability ambassadors. I'm going to move kind of quickly through this slide because we do have sustainability ambassadors on the agenda for April to come present to you all on their annual report, some of their impact projects they've got done, and then also do some planning for Earth Day, where they will have a presence and a booth next to you all. And then the right-of-way tree study implementation. As I mentioned, the tree study itself was completed in 2025, and then the next phase is actually implementing that study. So the first step was really getting those trees that were identified as really needing maintenance support in the near term, getting those taken care of by our maintenance teams. And then it will also be used to inform the right-of-way code and public works standard update. So it will be a reference for that work, but we do need some direction from council and to understand how this fits into the next biennial budget. And with 2 minutes to go, I will answer any high-level questions, but please feel free if you have not read the written report yet. That helps kind of provide a little bit more detail about some of these programs. As you're reading through that report or re-reviewing the PowerPoint, please feel free to send me questions. Thank you. As I mentioned, this same information will be provided to council, so it's great to get all of your feedback and questions ahead of that so that I can be better prepared.
Something quick with regards to like the solid waste sort of stuff. Did we end up getting, because then we'd send you some questions to ask through to Republic. Did we end up getting answers back to those?
Right.
I have not gotten an answer on all of it yet, but it will be included in the Q&A matrix for April.
Fantastic.
Yes. Especially leading up to the Earth Day is really what I wanted to get those for. So.
Fantastic, thank you.
So that right-of-way trees, you had about 1,300 that were okay. So there's 35 percent of the trees that got something wrong with them? Roughly?
I don't know that I would necessarily characterize it as wrong with them, but areas for better care might be a good way to think about that of, you know, trees that might benefit from some pruning or might be overhanging or overlapping or a potential utility
Right.
hazard that was identified through the study.
And those are only our,
Those are specifically street trees.
but
That's
Sammamish owned, right?
Yes.
They're not,
So,
because there's a
like the
lot of
trees-
HOAs.
Yeah, like the trees down the middle of 228.
Those are ours.
Yeah.
Yes, but there are lots of communities where they are street trees, but they are not the city trees. They're
Okay.
owned and managed by the HOAs. So,
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
Yes, it's important to note.
Mhm.
So this was looking at the trees that our maintenance teams and city contractors work on and are
Mhm.
responsible for so that they can be better informed for the work that they do.
All right, anything else? All right, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn our meeting tonight. Can I get someone to second?
I second it.
All right, all in favor of calling it a night, say aye.
Aye.
All right.